Psalms 107, verse 35. He turneth the wilderness into a standing water, and the dry ground into water springs. Shalom Akim, Kahala Yahweh Bashem Yashai, Bashem Kodash. Double honors my teachers, the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and mercy to the elect who are the house of David reborn again in this generation. And Shalom to the 130 Yasharallah, who today are known as the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, who before losing our true heritage, we were known as, and still are, the true Hebrew Israelites of the Holy Bible. In today's lesson, we're going to talk about the miracles and signs that the Lord is going to bring out in these last days, which were prophesied in the Bible. With the videos we just watched and are watching now are an example of one of those miracles that the Lord said would happen before the second coming, that He would create rivers in the deserts. Now, let's go ahead and read this. This is it says, the Wadi Ali Ramah flows again in the Saudi desert. It says, the heavy rains that have swept through Saudi Arabia over the past 2 weeks have not only brought flooding to urban areas, but quite the opposite. The most intense and extensive than usual rainfall has had the merit of irrigating Wad al-Ramah, one of the longest river systems in the kingdom, which had been almost dried up for years and was partially blocked by sand dunes. But since the water is flowing again on this 600-kilometer long stretch of desert, that area has become a real tourist attraction for the Saudis. They rush to the desert to stroll along the water's edge, even indulge in some water sports such as jet skiing. Others have even been seen riding horses around the water holes and venturing out to ford water here and there. Artists are even spotted trying to immortalize these rare moments. So you can see here, these are the signs which the Lord prophesied. Now, the first video we watched in this lesson was from the Al-Naid or Al-Nagav River in Iran, right? But these other videos are here in Saudi Arabia, right? But besides that, you got to understand that though the Lord is doing this in a physical aspect, the Lord is also pouring water, onto the spiritual desert, right? That those spiritual waters would be the truth of the Bible, and the spiritual desert would be us Israelites, the Negro, Latino, Native Americans who have, gone through the great falling away, meaning that we would lose our true heritage, that we would forget that we were the Israelites. And that's happened throughout history, where we've gone into captivity to multiple nations. We've forgotten who we were. We took on different identities. Some of us, by our own accord. Some of them by our captors, will. But let's read this. This is Isaiah 32:12. They shall lament for the teats. This is talking about our downfall, right? The Israelites' downfall, that is. For the pleasant fields and for the fruitful vine, upon the land of my people shall come up thorns and briars, yea, upon all the houses of joy in the joyous city, because the palaces shall be forsaken, the multitude of the city shall be left, the forts of the towers shall be for dens forever, a joy of wild asses, a pasture of flocks. And here's the point. Until the Spirit be poured upon us from on high, that's happening now, and the wilderness be a fruitful field, and the fruitful field be counted as a forest, right? And you see what's happening now is that the Lord is starting to make Saudi Arabia a fruitful field, right? The Lord is doing this multiple ways by, pouring out massive amounts of rain upon Saudi Arabia this last few years, but by giving the Saudis, right, the children of Ishmael, the technology and the passion to actually turn their desert into a lavish forest-like, continent, right? Over the last couple of decades, Saudi Arabia has been investing agricultural equipment and perfecting desert farming. And this is why in the video I showed you, there were images of just the growth of greenery and forest, or what was considered forest-like areas in Saudi Arabia, right? And now the wilderness has been turned into a fruitful field, okay? But notice this, like it says, that our place would be a desolate place until when? Until the Spirit be poured upon us. Now that's what's happening, starting with Abba Bivens back in the 50s, right? The Lord started to awaken the Israelites by first waking up the prophets, right? Bringing this knowledge back into the earth, little by little, perfecting it by the men of the Lord, right? Like in the One West schools, the apostles who have refined this truth and have made it more perfect, right? And that's ultimately what's happening now. The Lord has poured His Spirit from on high, okay? And just as He's doing that, He's also fulfilling the physical aspect of these prophecies. This is Isaiah 41:18. I will open rivers in high places and fountains in the midst of the valleys. I will make the wilderness a pool of water and the dry lands springs of water. And was that not what we just watched in those videos of those that the dry land had turned into springs of water? So much so that water was even gushing out of some of those crevices. See? So that right there is a physical representation of what's happening spiritually amongst the nation of Israel, amongst the Negro, Latino, Native Americans. This spirit that the Lord has put into us, this living water, which is the truth of the Bible, the words of the Lord, right? It's filling up our people, the 1/3 that is, right? Because again, this truth is going out and it's reawakening us. It's quickening the spirit of our people, and we're now coming back. At least 1/3 of our people are, right? We're taking in that spiritual living water, and we're coming back to life, right? We're springing up, you know, as what does it say? We're springing up. It says the wilderness is springing up to be a fruitful field, right? The wilderness, which was us, right? Just like it tells you in Ezekiel, the valley of dry bones, which was what us Israelites were equated to be, right? We were a valley of very dry bones. But now that the Lord has poured His Spirit upon us, that living water, we are now turning into a fruitful field. Here's another video of what's going on over there in Saudi Arabia. Now this took place in 2020, but just showing you, man, how the Lord is fulfilling His prophecies, right? Things that were written in Psalms, which was about Psalms was about 1000 BC. Oh, I'm sorry, about 1,000 years before the Messiah came on the scene, right? And Isaiah, which was about 600 BC. See, look at this, right? These are rivers and springs in the wilderness that have sprung up. The dry places are now as pools of water. See, and this right here is a perfect spiritual representation of what's going on to us Israelites, right? We are now being filled with that living water that the Lord said He would pour out upon us, so that way He could reawaken us, call us back to our true heritage. Right? This is what's happening to us, right? So what we're seeing, Akim, is literally the prophecies, come to pass. These are the great signs that the Lord would show in the earth before the second coming of the Messiah. So this is why the apostles have been saying that we only got months left. We only got a little while left before we start seeing some of these major prophecies, coming to pass. Right? What is it? The mark of the beast being introduced, right? And then being made optional, then eventually mandatory, and then World War III kicking into high gear. Right? We're already seeing the build-up for World War III. We're seeing the build-up for the implementation of the mark of the beast, right? And these are all signs that the Lord is sending upon the face of the earth, so that way you can identify them and know what time it is. You know? This is Isaiah 43:19. Behold, I will do a new thing. Now it will spring forth. Shall ye not know it? I will even make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert. See, there goes that prophecy. And this is Isaiah, like I said, around 600 BC. This is Acts 2:19. It says, actually, let me start on 18. It says, and on my servants and on my handmaidens I will pour out in those days, right, the last days, of my spirit, and they shall prophesy, right? Am I not doing that? Is not the apostles doing that? The other brothers who are making all these lessons? And I will show wonders in heaven above and signs in the earth beneath, blood and fire and vapor of smoke, right? These are those volcanoes, all these massive fires you've seen around the world. See, these are the signs and wonders, Akim, that the Lord had warned us to look out for. And I'm just here, just wanted to point this out and show you that these prophecies are literally happening, you know, in front of our eyes, right? But the thing is because this world is ran by the devil, right? These Edomites, the Caucasian race, they're not gonna show this en masse. They're not gonna show this on TV, right? It has to be, shared by the people, right? The true believers of the Lord, right? And then ultimately declared by the prophets, right? Because again, why? Because it's prophecy that the Lord would pour out His Spirit and give these signs for the people, and also give this message to His prophets, so that way they shall prophesy and warn His people, right? And that's why the prophets are referred to as the watchmen, because we're watching now for our people. So again, hopefully this video is edifying. Akim, until next time, I want to give all honor and glory and praises to Yahweh, B'Hashem Yahushai, B'Hashem Ruach Dash. Double honors my teachers, the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and mercy to the elect. Shalom.